Welcome, fellow explorers. My name is Christian Alexandersen, and this is Hemlocks to Hellbenders, a podcast highlighting Pennsylvania's parks, forests, and great outdoors. Throughout this season, we've featured parks on an individual basis. My thinking has been that every park should have its own episode, letting each park shine on its own. But what if there are parks that are so connected to one another that they shouldn't be separated? That brings us to Tuscarora and Locust Lake State Parks. They're both managed by the same park manager, they're both supported by the same volunteer group, and they're located in the same county, less than 10 miles apart. To speak about Tuscarora State Park is to speak about Locust Lake State Park and vice versa. So I figured we should feature them both in the same episode while giving them each their own individual sections. First up is Tuscarora State Park. Tucked away in Schuylkill County, Tuscarora State Park is loved by locals and often overlooked by outsiders, but it shouldn't be. Paddle or hike around the lake, taking in the changing colors and incredible views. And there's a good chance you'll have much of this majesty to yourself. Recent trips have only made me want to go back more. But before we learn more about Tuscarora State Park, here's the stats. Tuscarora State Park is a 1,618-acre park located in Schuylkill County. Available activities include hiking, picnicking, camping, swimming, boating, sightseeing, fishing, hunting, and ice skating. A notable feature of the park is its 96-acre Tuscarora Lake. Tuscarora State Park derives its name from the Native American people that once lived in the area. The word Tuscarora means hemp people or hemp gatherers in their language. Nearby towns include Hometown, Tamaqua, and Lansford. State parks that are close by include Locust Lake, Beltsville, and Lehigh Gorge State Parks. You may enjoy the park if you enjoy a beautiful scenic lake. I'm excited to welcome Jennifer Holman to the podcast. Jennifer is with the Friends of Tuscarora and Locust Lake State Parks. Jennifer, thanks for joining the program.
Thanks for having us, Christian.
How would you describe the park to someone who's never been there before?
So Tuscarora is a really great park. We're located in Barnesville, Pennsylvania, which is in Schuylkill County. The park is on the side of Locust Mountain. It's a really beautiful lake. It's surrounded by picnic areas. There are a number of yurts and cabins that are also located at Tuscarora State Park, and obviously hiking trails.
You're a part of the Friends group. What do? What volunteer opportunities are available for people?
I am part of the Friends group. We are a relatively new Friends group, just started April of 2021. We have volunteer opportunities almost every single month, usually the last Saturday of each month from April through October. We have some sort of volunteer activity that can be in Tuscarora or Locust Lake. We represent both of our parks. We also have a few big events every single year. So our events have been at Tuscarora specifically. We have a Tuscarora Summer Festival, usually held in June. And at Locust Lake, we have a Bark in the Park, which has been wildly successful. We also had a successful 50th anniversary for Locust Lake State Park. A lot of people from Schuylkill County have attended there. But our mission is obviously to conserve the park's educational value, cultural value, their recreational opportunities, which we'll talk a little bit about today. And everything we do is either volunteering to help that or raising funds and advocacy for our parks.
What do you love most about the park?
My favorite part about Tuscarora is the walking path. So I happen to have dogs, and the walking path that is right along the lake that overlooks the lake, there is an opportunity for boating. I'm not a boater myself, but we do have paddle boards. So I would say my two favorite things to do at Tuscarora are the walking path and taking our paddle boards out on the lake.
The region has a strong Native American history with the Tuscarora people, the Lenape, the Susquehannocks, and the Iroquois League of Five Nations. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So there's a good history of Tuscarora State Park where the Lenape claimed the land. It was then conquered by the Susquehannocks and then was controlled by the New York Iroquois League of Five Nations. There are a lot of strong timbers in the area, roads of mines in the area. And when the forests were gone in the 1900s, then the farmers started to till the land, and Tuscarora was eventually purchased in the early 1960s. The U.S. Soil Conservation Service in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania constructed the dam for flood control and then officially decided to open up Tuscarora State Park on June 26, 1971. It was originally discovered in Schuylkill County by immigrants and coal miners who decided to mine in the Locust Valley in the early mid 1800s.
One of the biggest attractions to the park is the 96-acre Tuscarora Lake. What sort of water activities are popular with visitors? What do people like to do?
It's a really great park for canoeing, kayaking, paddle boarding. So any of those activities, if those are popular with your guests, fishing, ice fishing, even in the winter, you will see a lot of people ice fish here. There is also a beach and swimming opportunities at Tuscarora State Park, and so all of those make the lake a really popular asset to the park. Additionally, it is a place that is, and I hesitate to say, not visited frequently. So there's times where you might be the only person on the lake in a canoe or in a kayak or on a paddleboard. There's pictures on our page, certainly, of people saying it's so quiet here, and you just have the opportunity to relax in your boat if you like to canoe, kayak, or paddleboard.
If a visitor wants to explore the park, what do you recommend they do?
So Tuscarora is one of the parks that has a camping cottages and yurts. We are not a full campground like Locust Lake is, but they do have six camping cottages and four yurts. So certainly that would be something I would recommend people experience. There's also opportunities in Tuscarora for many pavilion rentals. So there are a number of pavilions in the park. There are a number of picnic tables and grills in the park. And so often people will come for family reunions or corporate retreats or even with their families to be able to rent a pavilion, enjoy the day. If you wish to stay overnight, certainly there are overnight accommodations with the yurts and the cabins, which are very popular. That would be what I would recommend for someone who wanted to visit for the day or even overnight.
I just love the fact that there's an opportunity to sleep in a yurt.
Yeah, a yurt is certainly an interesting thing that I haven't seen in a lot of state parks. I mean, maybe you can tell me. I'm not really sure how many state parks have yurts, but it's a canvas wood wall tent on a platform. They have a little more accommodations than some of the cabins. There's a microwave and a fridge that, if somebody's looking for, I think they're calling it glamping now, might be a good opportunity for someone to try out camping if they're not quite ready for the tent or a cabin. So the other thing about the yurts and the cabins is there are some that are pet friendly and there are also some that are handicapped accessible. So regardless of if you would like to stay overnight, please check out the website for a rental of one of those camping options for visitors.
Well, you spoke a little bit about all the different events that the Friends Group holds. What's your favorite? Do you have one or two?
Yeah, I would say so at the Tuscarora Summer Festival, which is a new event for us at Tuscarora, we had a number of rehabilitation specialists that came locally that the park works with, and certainly they have been able to do programs with animals, everything from the PA Bat Rescue to Red Creek Wildlife. So I think our most popular events have been times where we've been able to bring programs, educational programs into the park, take advantage of the pavilions that are located at Tuscarora State Park, and really bring people in for a variety of different activities. So I would have to say Tuscarora Summer Festival overall, but certainly our educational programs have been the most popular at that festival.
Surrounding the lake, there's 9 miles of hiking trails ranging from easy to difficult. Do you have any trail recommendations for visitors?
Yeah, one of the most popular trails is located at Tuscarora. It is the Spirit of Tuscarora. It is a pretty difficult trail, and I think it's rated difficult. It's about 4.5 miles. It's cared for by a gentleman who's local, Pap Canals, which you'll see frequently on our Facebook page, and a frequent visitor and volunteer with our group as well. He has maintained the trail. People have most recently decided to put some memorial benches on the trail at specific locations because it is a trail that people have often hiked with their family. If you're looking for something easier, there's the Old Log Trail, which is one of the more easy trails that are located in Tuscarora State Park as well.
I was surprised to find out that the park has 250 picnic tables, which are available year round. Do you think an afternoon picnic is a good way to spend time in the park?
I think it's a perfect way to spend a time in the park. Like I said, there are many pavilions, but there are even outside the pavilions, like you said, 250 picnic tables offered year round, many of them in ideal locations that can overlook the lake. Many of them have grills that are installed by the park and are readily available for use. Those are perfect additions to a hike or a bike in the afternoon. As well as if you decide to do one of the cabin or yurt rentals, those are all great opportunities to spend time with your family.
In your opinion, when's the best time to visit?
I love fall. Locust Lake and Tuscarora both have stunning colors in the fall. It's just surrounded by a vast mountain that obviously you can see the leaves change sometimes earlier than we want to see them start to change, but stunning colors in the fall. It's also, great temperatures. You can still get out on the water and boat. You can still rent cabins or the year it's during the early fall. So I would have to say my favorite time is fall or autumn.
And I have to tell you, I was there in the summer when I first visited in 2021, and it was absolutely gorgeous as well. Not very many people, just a beautiful breeze and like a perfect day and perfect weather that was really nice to like escape the like city heat.
It's perfect. Regardless of the season, I mean, we have a video, which I think Christian, you've seen on our Facebook page that highlights something to do in the park in every single season, no matter what season. Like I mentioned, ice fishing, you would think that the parks would be very desolate during the winter, but they are very popular, both of them for ice fishing. And so all seasons, our parks are very busy and are an asset to the county and people who visit.
The park also has a 5-acre model aircraft flying field. Who maintains the field and who uses it?
Yeah, the Tuscarora RC Flying Club is actually who is the organization that maintains it. They're a separate organization that is a nonprofit organization. It's open to the public. There is a licensure process, I believe, for those who wish to fly at the club. And we are, I believe, one of 6 state parks with an RC field. They do have a website and a Facebook. So anybody who's interested that happens to be frequent in the area, TuscaroraRCFlyingClub.com. And they also have a Facebook. We have worked with them on a number of occasions. They have a couple really cool evening events where they do light shows, like aerodramas that have lights on the planes and on the helicopters, which is always something that's really popular with visitors.
That sounds really cool. I want to come up and check that out actually.
Yeah, they do them a few times a year. I believe they have like an AMA license and they have an association with the RC flying clubs. And the night one is really neat. The way that they outfit the planes and the helicopters with lights, neon lights that just go flying, zipping through the field. And people often and it was even popular during COVID because people sat in the field in their cars and could watch the show from their cars in the field when they would. But they're there almost every single weekend. Hobbyists, professionals, all people that like to fly RC planes.
Do you have any tips for people who plan on visiting the park?
I would just say have a great time. Take advantage of everything that the park has to offer. Seek out opportunities of something that you might not have done before. That might be something that is your first time if you haven't had the opportunity to kayak or canoe, or if you haven't had the opportunity to try out a paddleboard. All those opportunities. I have personally never stayed in a yurt. So you teased Christian earlier about a yurt. I've never stayed in one personally, but I would encourage anyone to try something that you haven't tried before, to just take advantage of all the park has to offer and have a great time.
How would you describe the cell phone coverage? Pretty good, pretty bad?
Yeah, cell phone coverage in the park is pretty good. Yeah, no, I have AT&T, but cell phone coverage is pretty good.
I think you're the first person so far that I've interviewed that actually has good cell phone coverage at their park.
Yeah, we do have good cell phone coverage actually in both parks. I didn't know that was that not frequent, but we do.
If someone is interested in becoming a volunteer with your friends group, how should they reach out?
We have a number of social media outlets as well as a Facebook and a website. So I would tell people the best way is to check us out on our website. You can go to bit.ly/friends of TLL standing for Tuscarora and Locust Lake. Same, we have an Instagram page, a Facebook page, as well as an email that anyone who's interested can get on our email list and find out what's happening with us. We send out a monthly email about the volunteer activity of the month, as well as any of the events that we have upcoming, or ways that you can become involved in other ways, whether they be financial or clerical. We have ways for a job for everyone to be able to get involved with us.
Now let's move on to Locust Lake State Park. While they're located less than 20 minutes from one another, Tuscarora and Locust Lake State Parks are very different. The solitude and calmness that Tuscarora offers gives way to the hustle and bustle of Locust Lake. And that's because Locust Lake has an incredibly popular camping area that brings in people from all over the Commonwealth and surrounding states. In fact, 281 campsites encircle the 52-acre Locust Lake. They have RV and trailer campsites, they got tenting campsites, they have walk-in campsites. They have something for everybody that's looking to camp. Locust Lake is the focal point of the park, offering visitors an opportunity to swim in it, hike or pedal around it, or paddle across it. Or you can kick up your feet on the park's sand beach and relax. But don't get me wrong, Locust Lake isn't just some giant campsite. There's plenty of beautiful scenery to spend your time exploring. You can take trails over the Locust Valley through pine plantations and hemlock stands, along a wooded creek, and through mature deciduous forests. But before we learn more about Locust Lake State Park, here's the stats. Locust Lake State Park is a 1,772-acre park located in Schuylkill County. Available activities include hiking, camping, swimming, wildlife watching, boating, fishing, hunting, biking, picnicking, and ice skating. A notable feature of the park is its nearly 300 campsites. Locust Lake State Park derives its name from the 52-acre Locust Lake located in the park. Nearby towns include Frackville, Pottsville, and St. Clair. State parks that are close by include Tuscarora State Park. You may enjoy the park if you enjoy lakeside camping with lots of amenities. So, Jennifer, how would you describe the park to someone who's never been there before?
So Locust Lake is a beautiful park in Barnesville, Pennsylvania, which is in Schuylkill County. It has 282 campsites, which might be what it's most commonly known for. We are very busy during the summer with our campsites. Beautiful lake, fishing, boating. There's a biking trail that goes right around the lake, a number of trails. Locust Lake also has an amphitheater, which many people don't know about, and a number of playgrounds. The Friends Group has also done a number of improvements there that we can certainly talk about. It's a very popular place. If you haven't had the opportunity to visit, we would love to have you.
What do you love most about Locust Lake?
It's really picturesque. It's a really beautiful park. It has a dam that you can cross if you haven't been there before. A beautiful lake that's really popular. It's kind of nestled in a valley with a trail around it. And so you will see campers there, obviously. And so what I probably love most is taking a walk around that bike trail, and the smell of the campfire and the smell of the s'mores is just reminiscent of your childhood and kind of takes you back.
Well, one of the biggest attractions to the park is the 52-acre lake. What sort of water activities are popular with visitors? What can they do?
Fishing is very popular, boating is very popular, ice fishing, swimming, and the beach. Locust Lake also has a boat rental. There's a Locust Lake camp store that also offers boat rentals. And so even if you don't own a boat or don't own a paddleboard or a kayak yourself, you can go and try that out for the day, because there are boat rentals by the hour offered by the camp store as well. But I would say boating, fishing, ice fishing, swimming, the beach, all are very popular, in addition, obviously, to the campground.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the beach? Like, is it a sand beach? Is it like a rocky beach?
It is a sand beach. It is down on the bike trail. There are restrooms and sand beach there, as well as an area, a swimming area that is roped off.
Is there something everyone should experience when they visit?
Yeah, I would say the hiking trails and the bike loop are probably two of the most popular things that I would say are daily activities. Of course, the camping, I mentioned the smell of the campfire and the smell of the s'mores is something that I think everyone should have the opportunity, whether it's an RV camping or tent camping, both of which are offered at Locust Lake, are both opportunities that somebody should be able to experience when they visit our park.
Let's say they weren't able to snag a campsite and they're only there for a couple hours. What do you think people should do if they visit, if they only have a little bit of time?
I would say for like a full day option, I would say they should hike the Oak Trail, maybe the Ridge Trail. That is something that I think we're one of the only parks that has an approved geocache. So there is a Girl Scout geocache that's on the Ridge Trail, as well as fishing, trying your hand at fishing. So some of those opportunities are available through the camp store as well. Or boating, as I said, can be rented at the camp store. If you only have a few hours, I would say biking around the lake is pretty popular. It's like a 1.3 mile bike trail that is paved, handicapped accessible, stroller accessible, obviously bike accessible, to be able to go around the lake, or rent a boat. Or, if it's a Saturday, you can certainly stop and volunteer with us.
When I visited the park in 2021, I ran along the paved trail, and it was absolutely gorgeous. Just being able to go around the lake and kind of wave hi to people and see people that are going and coming. It was really a nice experience, especially with such beautiful weather I had that day.
What month did you visit?
Was summer.
Summer. So you got all the hot dog smells and all the campfire smells that everyone comes for around the trail. Because if you can't camp, the second best thing to do is come walk on the bike trail and say hello to all the campers and smell all of the good smells.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about the camping options. What are they?
So there's 282 campsites. So everything from tent camping to full hookups. There are some improvements being made in the park right now for full electric hookup sites. Some of the sites actually starting in September will be closed down temporarily while they make some upgrades to full electrical sites. There are sites that are pet friendly. There are a couple shower houses that are also throughout the campground. And so whether you have an RV or you have a pop-up or you have a tent, there are certainly opportunities in one of those 282 sites to be able to find something that works for you.
That also feels like a lot of sites, 282, considering the amount of space that sort of like environment takes up. That seems like a lot.
It is a lot. It's really popular. I mean, I don't know how that compares. Maybe you actually do. I don't know how that compares to other, but it is, I think, Schuylkill County's #1 travel tourist destination.
Oh, wow.
Locust Lake is. And so we have a lot of obviously local people that are from the county that visit, but a lot of people from across the Commonwealth, across the state, across the country that come and visit and camp. And in some cases, camp traditionally every single year at Locust Lake. Yeah, it is a lot, and they are very well taken care of, and people enjoy it.
One of the things I love too when I'm camping is a camp store. I don't know what it is, but I love going there. If they have ice cream, if they have hot dogs, whatever's available, I'm just going to spend a lot of money there. You have a camp store. What's available there?
Yeah, the camp store is recently run by the Coal Cracker Bushcraft, which is a local gentleman who runs it. They do have food, they have ice cream. As I mentioned, they have boat rentals there, which is popular and I think a little bit different than some other places. They have soft pretzels. I understand they have fresh on tap birch beer there as well. And so they are up and running as of last May. And I think they are going to be a big asset to the park and bringing people in, maybe for the little thing you forgot, because it's not the closest to a convenience store, but certainly has brought some additional items that might be good for people who might frequent the park.
For those looking to test their orienteering skills, the park has a course around the lake. How can people try out the course?
Yeah, the course is I'll say rather simple course. I think they call it a beginner level course. It was originally developed by Delaware Valley Orienteering Association. If someone wants to try it out, they do have maps that are the station that you come into when you come into Locust Lake is called the Locust Lake Contact Station. It's a little booth, kind of looks like a ticket booth that you would check in with. They have maps at the Locust Lake Contact Station. There are about 9 controls on a 1.3-mile course for the orienteering folks who might want to try that out. But it is a good beginner level course if you haven't orienteered before to just kind of give it a try.
Also, DCNR holds a number of free orienteering courses, or I think very cheap orienteering courses at parks around the state. So if you're ever interested, you could take one of those.
That would be great. I didn't even know that. See, I learned something today too.
The Friends Group holds a number of events for the community. What are some of your favorites?
The two favorites associated with Locust Lake are every October for the last 3 years, which we've been in existence as a friends group. We have held the Bark in the Park. And so it is what it sounds like. It is for our two-legged friends as well as our four-legged friends. And so it has been wildly popular with people who have come. So we have a number of vendors, we have demonstrations, canine folks, food, pictures, as well as like dog trainers and things that come. It has been very, very popular since year one. I'm always amazed at the number of different breeds of dogs. You can find any breed of dog and they all get along and they all get along really well. We have it every October, and every other year we have a caricature artist that comes. And so if you have a furry friend that you would like a caricature drawn of, we do have an artist that comes every single year. So that's been very, very popular. The other one that I think we're really proud of is when we first became a group, the Locust Lake was celebrating their 50th anniversary. And so we decided to hold a 50th anniversary celebration. Had a number of dignitaries there and some Senate citations, did the Pledge of Allegiance and a number of national anthems. So very, ceremony, but had food trucks there, had yard games out. It was very, very popular with the community. We had nowhere to park. There were so many people, there was nowhere to park, and people were certainly waiting for food. We had no idea how popular it would be and how many of the local community wanted to come out and celebrate the 50th anniversary. One of the highlights was the people that originally owned the park that sold it to the state came back and were presented with the Senate citation, and you can find their pictures on our page. The Marshallonis family in totality, all of them came for the 50th anniversary, which was very special. And we presented them with presented the citations to the park manager at the time.
In addition to the events that the Friends Group holds, so is the park. They have a number of education events and programs. Do you have any recommendations for programs that visitors might be interested in?
Yeah, so our education specialist holds weekly hikes by Robin, her name is. She will also do coordination with other folks. One of the things that they've done this summer is yoga in the park. And so the hikes are very popular. The yoga in the summer is very popular. She also works with a number of animal rescues or rehabilitation groups that come in and do presentations. They just did a very popular tree identification program. Sometimes they also work with a local astrology club, and there's an area of the park that is more dark than others. And so they've done nighttime sky viewing opportunities. All of those have been really popular, all available at Locust Lake State Park.
Surrounding the Locust Lake, there's about 9.5 miles of trails ranging from easy to difficult. Do you have any recommendations for visitors?
Sure. So if you're looking for something that is more difficult of a hike, the Oak Loop Trail would be one of the more difficult hikes. That's one of my favorites. It's about 2.2 miles and it is on the difficult side. But if you're looking for something that's easy, the bike trail is fantastic. So the bike path is 1.3 miles. It's paved. Like I said, it is bike friendly. It is stroller friendly. It's handicapped accessible. It's paved all the way around. You have the opportunity to go across the dam, which was there were recently some improvements to the fencing that was along the dam that the park did. And so it's really just a beautiful hike. It's relatively flat and can be enjoyed by just about anyone.
Jennifer, I understand you also have a couple special guests at the park.
We do. People are looking for them frequently. So we have a pair of bald eagles that just are stunning. And so if you check our Facebook page or obviously visit the park, they are often in one of the trees, very high up, sitting so majestically. Certainly looking for their next dinner, I think, in the lake. But people have captured some really amazing shots. When we did our 50th anniversary 2 years ago, we put one of the photographer gave us permission. Tom Buell gave us permission to put his image of one of the eagles that is very good image on our patch. So we did a 50th anniversary patch, but they are just amazing, majestic creatures. I think you certainly see them more frequently than when we were younger, but they are still a sight to be seen when you see them at a park. So we are very fortunate to have a pair of nesting bald eagles at the park.
In your opinion, when's the best time to visit?
I would say summer for Locust Lake State Park, but that's my smell of campfire and s'mores, and when the park is probably the most busy with campers. You'll see biking, you'll see kids, you'll see lots of families. A couple of the things that we are working to install as the Friends group that we've recently done fundraising for, we received a partial grant from the Schuylkill Community Area Foundation for a bike repair station, so that those that do ride their bike can do have repairs. And so that should be being installed in the fall. We also are installing 2 water fountains, one of which has a handicapped accessibility water fountain, a bottle filler, as well as a dog bowl on the bottom. And so we're really happy and hope for those to be, but all obviously to be able to be used during the summer. The other thing that's interesting about Locust Lake is they also have fitness stations, which some people miss when they're walking around the bike station, but their DCNR does have a full fitness course that's installed around the bike path that people can also take advantage of.
Yeah, the summer vibes at Locust Lake are just phenomenal, especially like you say, the activity and just like everyone's excited. There's so many families like enjoying the surroundings, going on hikes, riding their bikes. It's just such a fun place to be and such like a exciting time to be there.
I think it's when like the park comes alive. So I think it's used year round and I think it's very beautiful and across all 4 seasons, whether it's ice fishing or fall leaves, or summer and spring, when flowers are coming out and trees are just changing. But I think the park really does come alive in the summer.
Do you have any tips for people who plan on visiting the park?
Yeah, I would say grab a map. So we have beautiful maps that have all of our trails, have all of the features and amenities at both of the parks. I would say grab a map, explore all the park has to offer. Like I said, the park really comes alive in the summer and it's really busy, but there are lots and lots of opportunities, whether it's an educational program, something that's offered, or amphitheater, visiting the camp store, trying your hand at fishing or canoeing. Obviously, taking care of the park is something we certainly appreciate as well. It's something we feel really strongly and passionate about. But yeah, it's a beautiful place. Grab a map and see everything that there is to offer.
I would also suggest like planning ahead of time and taking your time. Like being able to like come with a plan and like if you really enjoy hiking, there's some places to hike. If you really enjoy water activities, maybe get there early before the crowd show up or something like that. And then once you're there, take your time, stroll the bike path. You don't have to power walk anything. You can take your time and I think really get to experience the surroundings, which are really quite beautiful.
Yes, I totally agree. I'm fortunate to live really close to both.
Jennifer, thanks so much for joining the podcast. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me, and I hope you're able to get out and see Tuscarora or Locust Lake and visit with us soon.
I want to thank my guest, Jennifer Holman, for joining the podcast. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook for more information about upcoming episodes. You can support the podcast by buying merch or donating on our website. This has been Hemlocks to Hellbenders. I'll see you out there. Hosting, production, and editing by Christian Alexandersen. Music by John Sauer. Graphics by Uncle Traveling Matt's Random Expedition.